Well, hello everyone. And welcome to a kind of impromptu morning-ish stream. It's not morning anymore. It was when I hit go live, so it counts. We are here today to get some GM prep done. Snuck in a little bit. I was hoping to be on for a little longer. I got up. Got up at like 9 today. Went outside, played with my dog. So far, so good. You'll hear him in the background pretending like we didn't already play for an hour. Pretending like the world is over and he's the most bored boy in the world. So anyway, I did that, and then I came down here and I got ready to prep, made some coffee. I actually was really slow to get going. I didn't get outside with my dog until like 9:30. I got up at 9. Didn't get outside with my dog until 9:30. What was I doing in the middle? I guess it took me half an hour to cook myself up a bowl of cereal. We're going now, though. After a few more delays. I came downstairs to get the stream ready after getting the coffee ready. And my stream deck was broken for the 3rd time in 2 weeks. And I was really, really mad about that. So I went through to fix it permanently. If you are not aware, the portable mode of OBS is great and lets you keep all of your things in OBS portable. So you can just move it from your desktop to your laptop. And assuming that all of your stuff is in the same place, which is its own challenge, then it just runs. It just runs. Minus any assets that it can't find because they were on your old computer. But I have that solved by just having all of my assets on a USB stick with the same label as the drive where all my assets are on this computer. So, easily solved. Anyway, Stream Deck, every time you update the Stream Deck software, it installs a new version of the plugin. I don't know why. It does the same shit all the time. I don't need a new version to just continue to hit the same button that changes my scenes and mutes my microphone. That's all I need. I don't need... They don't update the functionality. Like it's always the same, but there's always a new plugin version every time there's a new Stream Deck version, and I don't know why. So, every time you update the Stream Deck software, there's a pretty good chance that it's going to break and not connect to OBS. And you have to go in and manually move the plugins. And again, this is just if you're using portable OBS, which I'm doing because everything else is easier to back up. So you got to like move the plugins from the default install folder because of course the Stream Deck software couldn't be bothered to ask where your OBS install is. So yeah, that happened again. And instead of just fixing it, I made some symbolic links so that it will hopefully in the future. I realize one of them's probably going to break because the Stream Deck installer, when there's a new version, goes through and like deletes the old folders out of the portable OBS install. So anyway, I made some symbolic links, which if you're not aware, is just a thing where you tell Windows like, hey, this folder that you think is over here, like just tell all of the programs, tell everything else that it's actually like point them over here. Pretend that these two locations are the same folder. And I do this for like a lot of music software stuff because a lot of music software kind of defaults to installing on the C drive, which I don't want because I want all of that to be portable. Shocker. I want to be able to move it to my laptop and use it there without doing a whole bunch of work. Back it all up. So I do a bunch of work up front to make sure that it's all just over there to begin with. So anyway, I made those symbolic links. So hopefully in the future, when Stream Deck doesn't update, it will just automatically install the stuff in the right place. It's not going to work. But one of them is like almost definitely going to break because the Stream Deck installer goes through and like definitely deletes the folder that I'm pointing it to. So we'll see. We'll see on the next Stream Deck update. So I might have to refix it next time. Anyway, I got really sick of like doing this manual copy and pasting every time. And I could have just made a script to do the copy and pasting for me, but instead I cut out a step by adding a bunch more steps. Anyway, so I did all that. And that made me a bit later, a whole hour later for stream. And then there was a little bit more consideration. On the aesthetic side, I'm the most Midwest. I'm in my most Midwest form at the moment with the hat and the t-shirt. This is not my typical streaming attire style, I would say. But what can you do? I, for a moment, threw on a coat, and I sat down, and I looked at it on camera, and I'm like, this. Never mind. Couldn't commit to the bit. So, and it was going to be warm. Anyway, so that's been my morning. We've got like 2 hours to do some prep. I could have 3.5 hours, but I'm going to play in my friend Moto's campaign later, and I like to have a full chunk of time to myself to just listen to my character playlist and get into the headset of my character. Do I need full 2 hours for that? Not really. I usually make coffee during that, but I'm up early today. Can't save my coffee making for that time, so that's... I'm actually pretty nervous about shaking up that ritual. It's very weird. My whole D&D session, my whole Pathfinder session might be ruined because I'm not going to make coffee beforehand. I need to get some decaf coffee. Maybe I should buy decaf coffee. I'm going to go to the grocery store later in between stream and the campaign. Maybe I should make some decaf coffee so I can go through the coffee making ritual twice a day on D&D days. That's a really good idea. Anyway, at this point, it's more about the process than the actual coffee. At least, you know, just like listening to the music for the character playlist while I'm making coffee, doing that stuff with my hands. It's like a whole vibe. So, yeah. Not working overnights has really fucked up my whole life. It's not true. That's not true. It's been very good for my life. But it does mean that I can't make coffee just before my D&D campaigns, either of them. So all of that said, we're going to be doing some GM prep. First, I will be recapping the last session, which was a slow one. We had one session of like getting to this town, getting to oh god, Skalik. Skalik is the name of the capital here. Skalik. Something like that. Which I'm surprised. I thought after I named it, because I just named it, it's like a derivation of Sky Lake, because this is a very high kingdom. They are, elevation-wise, quite up there. So, and it's like very clear lake, and you can see the reflection of the sky, and it's a whole thing. So that's why it's called Skalik, but they also, the royal family there is blessed by the goddess Scala. So I thought that and maybe they've made this connection and just not said it out loud, but I thought they were going to assume that it was because of the connection to Scala that it's named Skalik. Unimportant lore information that no one needs to know, but you're here to listen to me babble. All right? So they got there 2 sessions ago. Previous session, they split up, did a bunch of their own kind of random things around town, really around the castle, harassing the royal family and such, getting a little bits of information that are pretty important, pretty good. And that was good fun. Then last session, I thought they were going to get out of town. Thought they were going to leave. They've got someone on the way. They have this revenge target for Steris, who has this sight of vengeance thing where she can see people who have wronged her and have not yet paid for their crimes. See them off in the distance. Know the direction and distance that they are at all times. Have I actually described it in terms of distance? No, I've described it in terms of seeing like an orange fuzzy dot on the horizon, because the power is called like sight of... No, don't mind me. Keep going, Joe. Sight of Vengeance is what it's called. So there's that. And, so they know that this revenge target... Oh yeah, you're not even gonna lay on there? Hello, dog. So this site of vengeance tells them that this target is coming down the mountains, following their path, has found out, kind of like tracked them to this kingdom and is coming to stalk them a little bit. This huntsman that's been after them for quite some time that also happens to be someone who took part in the killing of Steris' family. So they know that this person is coming. I figured they would leave town and go set up an ambush for this guy, get it out of the way. They stayed in town, ventured around, got a little bit more information about how this kingdom is blessed by Scala, what its defenders are like, that kind of thing. That took about 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes total with those characters. And then I had a bit of a tragedy of pacing. I had a lot of trouble keeping another scene on the rails where they were going to investigate scene of Akshin and Turris, played by Danzivar and Voraktee. They were going to investigate this guy who is just like conscripting people. Conscripting? Conscripting. Conscript is the noun. Conscript is the verb. Anyway, they're conscripting people in Temel, in Rudel to go fight in the Temelian army. The whole dynamic between the two kingdoms, we don't need to get into it. They were investigating this guy, kind of conceived as just a shipward. He was bragging and implying that soon he would be the one like living in Skalak Castle. In his meeting with the queen, he's been very boastful, etc., etc. So he seems to think that he will be able to gain something by helping with this war effort in Temel. The Duchess of Rudel, Duchess Wolf, does not think so. Basically says, like, there's not going to be anything left in the ashes for you to pick over if this war happens, and you know it. You should know it, and if you don't, you're dumber than I thought. So that's the dynamic there. They went to investigate this guy more. They found out, unfortunately, mostly that he is, like, just shitbird. They spent a lot of time coming up with this overly complicated plan, and I have to strike this balance of like trying to imply that this could be so much simpler without like laughing too much at their ideas or being like, like streamlining their ideas along. I don't want to give the implication that any of their ideas are dumb, because often their ideas that they come up with that I don't have in my brain are excellent, are brilliant, and very funny and very amusing. And this was very funny and very amusing. It just took like 2.5 hours because I was having trouble pacing it out. They kept making it more complicated between these two player characters that were there. And next time I just need to be like, all right, there are only 2 of you here. And we need to break this down to a couple of skill rolls, and then I can just give you some information and we can role play the highlights rather than role playing each step and going into the nuance of talking to the front desk person, getting the information about who's in which penthouse, getting more and more and more and more information from individuals when like the ultimate payoff is not super big. And like if they want to spend a whole scheme on something like this, then they just need to bring the rest of the party in. That's kind of the end discussion that happened as a result of this. But yeah, basically it just kept spiraling into a more and more complicated thing. I kept trying to trim it down and make it less complicated, and they kept kind of like building it up. And in their defense, I also kept making it slightly more complicated on my end. I'm like stuck between these other 2 rocks of, okay, let's trim this down and like streamline all of this, but also like you can't just sneak into this guy's penthouse. He's got a bunch of guards. You can't just have like free reign of the place, and like you can't just do whatever you want either, because you know what I mean? Like, I already make it too easy to accomplish goals sometimes, but I want the scene to go by faster, but I don't want to just like give them things for free. So I kept trying to slim it down to like a couple of skill checks, and they kept like role playing with each individual person and through each individual detail on the steps along the way. And it just wasn't very smooth. At the end of it though, it was a big pacing lesson for me. I'm bad at pacing. I'm bad at like directing players when they are throwing the pacing way off. It's just a weakness of mine as a GM. And really, as long as the party is together, I don't mind letting people spiral things into funny, weird, like, absurd places. Too much. At the end of all this, they found a note from the matron of the Rudel-y family, who's the family that this shitbird is from. And it basically said, like, dude, buddy, you need to stop bragging. You need to stop talking about these things like they're a done deal. And as the queen ordered, our fucking estate is off limits to outsiders. And you cannot bring your friends here. You need to fucking chill out for a little while until this is all wrapped up. And then we can have the run of the place. So they found that note on this Rudel-y fellow, Mardel. Voraktee kept trying to, like, pump up Mardel's name. It's like, Mitchel. And I'm like, no, it's Mardel. I'm like, no. No, he's got a goofy name. He doesn't have a dignified name. His name is Mardel. So, not that Mardel is, like, a bad name. Got any Mardels out there? Totally fine. But stop trying to, like, make it... stop adding so much emphasis. Lengthening the syllables, you know? Trying to make it sound like that very typical English European royalty kind of sound of, like, Mitchel. I'm like, no. No. His name sounds like Muddle. All right? So yeah. On the side, in a very brief, like 5-minute scene, Isha sent off a ring to this vengeance site target that we were talking to earlier that will have interesting and fun results when the encounter with him happens. So that'll be fun. Isha meddling, as usual. But we'll see if it even comes up. Because Isha's plan for this vengeance site target, for this huntsman, depends on him dying. And Steris might not kill him. Steris might not exact vengeance if there's just a little time to figure out what he's about. They already know there's something interesting going on with him. I didn't cover it earlier, but he is like the son of Duchess Wolf. He is a wolf. They haven't heard the name Trebare Wolf from anyone else, but they know that he had this amulet that was stolen from this royal family. He matches the description of Trebare Wolf, but he's only been going by Huntsman. They have not heard this name, Trebare, from anyone else. So they're very curious about that and why that might be and why he might have run away. They know that he fell in with a bunch of, before he stole the amulet and ran away, he fell in with a bunch of moon worshippers, which I've covered in previous campaigns. No one's brought up a theory on this, but he's definitely, I'm still of two minds on the name. He's definitely like a werewolf gone wrong. Yes, I named the family Wolf. Which came first, the wolf or the werewolf? No one will ever know. So he was turned into some kind of werewolf, but there's some kind of corruption going on with the void and the moon. The moon is already kind of taken over by the void, so bringing it all together. So he's not going to be a regular looking werewolf. He's going to be all fucked up. He's going to be, I'm using the image from Battle Zoo Bestiary for a twist wear. Where is he? There he is. So this is the image that I'm using for him. The twist wear is supposed to be a werewolf between like two different creature types, but I'm just using this is like a fucked up werewolf. He's just a corrupted werewolf. The coloration and everything kind of matches like the void stuff that's been going on with other folks in the past. So. Hello Harm on YouTube. Oh my gosh. Is a joke really funny if it doesn't take 2.5 hours to tell? That's correct. I'm sorry, I missed the YouTube chat for a minute. He is a wolf and he's named Wolf. What are the odds? Every member of the wolf family were wolves. I thought about doing that. I thought about making there be some rumors that they had trouble with werewolves, that maybe the whole family was werewolves themselves. I haven't found a place to inject that in the 12 hours that we've been in this town, but maybe I'll find a place to slip that in if they spend another session digging into lore. I did have the... I don't know what I'd call it, but it's wolf. It's like WOULFE. And it came up, in my defense, in a name randomizer as the first result. It's not, I can't be held accountable. I can't be blamed for this. It isn't my fault. Good to see you too, Harm. Hello, hello. It's fine. My dog is digging everything at the moment. I hear him. He was back there digging the futon. He was over there digging the tiles at the bottom of the stairs. Now he's digging the carpet, which is the one thing tile I don't really want him to dig either. I don't really want him to dig any of those. Jojo. Thank you. On a big digging kick. He wants to find a nice place to hunker down. And he's got to dig a den out of the tile to do it. All right. So all of that recap done, we are going to do our little worksheet, which I still haven't edited. Every time I do this, I'm like, oh, there are like 3 scripts that I need to fix. And I haven't done that, so enjoy that. So this is session S2E32. I am trying so hard to move the story along, by the way. I'm trying so hard to get to the point where we can cut the season. And we're so close, but they keep spending full sessions in town. I'm like, oh God. Is that my fault? Maybe. Maybe. I need to buff up these secrets and clues. We have 4 missing that I just haven't bothered to replace. And this one's even like way outdated. The leyline one. Like I've already given 3 hints about this and they just haven't picked it up, so I should probably just delete it. But oh well. I'm gonna copy a bunch of these scenes because we haven't gotten there yet. So we might... We did hunt down the Axiomite. We haven't gotten to the Dryads. Okay. So we're just gonna copy a bunch of the scenes for last time because we didn't get to any of them. So these are some scene options if they go chase down Mr. Wolf, the huntsman. And we're opening on... I am so bad... Okay. I'm so bad at coming up with hot starts. In, like, exciting ways to start sessions when they ended a session doing nothing. Usually I have pretty good faith in myself. Jozu. One moment. Okay. I don't want the carpet to be ripped up. I don't want the carpet to be ripped up. That's all. There's blankets everywhere. He can dig the blankets all he wants. Okay. So I'm real bad at coming up with hot starts. And by the way, we're going to reference the 8 steps of the Lazy Dungeon Master. If you're not familiar with this, check out the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master from Sly Flourish. Check out Sly Flourish's YouTube channel. He talks about it all the time. You don't even really need to buy the PDF, but if you want to, I'd recommend it. It's good stuff that helps you, like, prepare to improvise, which is a big, good thing. So even though I'm, like, kind of a maximalist GM and I, like, love over-prepping, love over-prepping, and coming up with, like, big set-piece things and big dramatic moments and all of that stuff, and big dungeons and putting way too much work into the dungeons. Even though I like doing all of that, I also like putting in the, like, the preparation to improvise that the Lazy Dungeon Master's checklist helps with. And one of those is the hot start. And I'm really, really bad at coming up with a hot start. An exciting way to start the session that kicks off the action and gets people talking about things right away. It doesn't have to be a fight. In fact, it often should not be a fight, because depending on what fight, when, that could actually be a cold start. That can be a slow start. If the first thing you do is like get ambushed and you have to roll initiative, a threat of a fight is great. If you have like a bunch of people holding crossbows like at the party and the party has just been bamboozled and you have to start on like a role play before a fight is a great hot start. But the actual fight, starting on roll initiative, is kind of a sloggy way to start a session. You gotta like heat up to the rolling of the initiative to make that part be exciting. Because it's not exciting on its own, really. Except maybe like, I don't know, there are exceptions. But so that is the short version of what a hot start is. In this case, I think I'm going to open on Steris waking up. Steris waking up and either like, I think Steris has said that she checks her vengeance site every morning, every time she wakes up. I'm not totally sure. But the vengeance site will show that the closest person who has wronged her is the one in the southeast. Judging by how far away he is making nearly double time what the party managed going over those mountains. I think I gotta make him... I've got too many windows up. My alt tab is huge. Okay. I gotta check if he is a ranger or a fighter. Debilitating shot. Resigning bravery. Oh, he's a fighter. I gotta make him a ranger. Yuck. Okay. We'll do that later. But so I'm gonna check one thing though. Ranger. Do rangers? I don't even know if rangers in Pathfinder have favored terrain. The corification of Chrome tabs. I'm definitely not as bad as core, I would say. But I do have quite a few windows open when I'm streaming. For sure. Like, down here you can see on my start bar, we have 3 windows for StreamerBot. We have, like, the main window, and then chat, and then an event feed. And I also have SpeakerBot, and I also have Stream Deck, and I also have OBS. So we have all of those. And then I have music up, and I have a Twitch window up. And then I have the stuff that I'm actually doing on stream, which is Edge, because I need a Chromium browser to run Foundry nicely. And then I have the PDF for Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, and I have my GM notes. So I have quite a bit open. I don't need that Explorer window open. So that's great. We culled 1. Okay, anyway, Rangers do seem to have Nature's Edge. You'll always find a weak point in your foe's defenses when they're on unfavorable terrain. Enemies are off guard if they're in difficult terrain. So that's not the same. I don't think they have the favored terrain thing that previous Rangers have had. Maybe some of the Hunter's Edges do. Oh, no. Oh, trackless journey. When you move through natural terrains, you are hard to track. Oh, you always gain the benefits of the cover tracks actions. So that's nice, and not what we want. Whatever. He's just gonna know the mountains really well. It doesn't need to be a ranger mechanic, I guess. Maybe there's a favorite terrain thing in here, but there is a favorite terrain thing in the feats. You've studied a specific terrain to overcome its challenges. When in that terrain, you ignore the effects of non-magical difficult terrain. If you have the unimpeded journey class feature, you gain a second benefit. So his favorite terrain, he's going to have this feat, and it's just going to be mountains, and he just books it over mountains. He does not have his travel speed slowed down by mountains, which is great. And he also gets a climb speed. So that's cool. So he will be a ranger. He will have all that stuff. So. Maybe I'll even add a little bit of spice on this just to force the hot start of it. Like, okay. Bedding is fine. He can make a little nest on bedding. That's fine, Joe. Okay. Oh, always while I'm streaming. So. Heart thumps harder at the approach, more swift than you expected. At the orange glow of the huntsman's shape, pulsing red each heartbeat. So just add that a little bit to that morning before before Scene and Tourist come back. So that is our hot start. Very character-focused hot start, but it might influence some discussion rather than opening it up and being like, hey, what do you guys do? And having them run to the grocery store or something. Stick around town even longer. So there's that. That is our hot start. That is technically step 2 of the Lazy GM's checklist. The first one is review the characters, which is a step that I haven't really needed to focus on in previous, previous campaigns haven't required that so much. This one, I'm starting to feel like maybe it's needed. So I'm gonna need to edit my little template here and get this character review section added. So the character review is just spending a few minutes reviewing the player characters, reviewing what they want, what can play into their background, what do they enjoy at the table, and it helps you kind of work out scenes that, or keep these characters in mind as you're making scenes. I have a lot of trouble spotlighting Turkan and Scene of Auction. I have no trouble spotlighting Steris. Anything that could relate to Steris heavily, it's just like a shining beacon. Same with Isha, very easy. Their characters are very built into the world in a very easy way to kind of wrap my head around. Turris also has a lot of built-in stuff, anything in a certain pizza slice of content. Very easy to plug Turris in. He also engages with the world in a very cordial way. He likes interacting as a character. He likes interacting with the people of the world, helping them out, seeing what their problems are, and seeing what he can do to relieve them. He's a very curious character, wants to understand people. So he again is someone who jumps right in to most things without having to work too hard. But Turkan and Scene of Auction are a little harder to spotlight because what they interact with is a little bit hard to predict and often doesn't have to do with the story too much. So and Scene of action, Danzivar Konnor has been better at jumping in and interacting with the world a little bit more. So I don't need to probably put as much work into spotlighting him either, because he's been better about it himself. I still want to keep things in mind. So he does like things with like imbalances in power dynamics. He's more morally driven than you expect. Specifically watching out for the little guy, which is interesting because that is what Turkan in his character information was going to be about. Was going to be about like protecting the little guy. Literally one of the tenets of his religion is like defend the small folk or something like that. Like look after the small folk, and then as a part of that, the precept after that is like tax them, tax the land. So part of their religion is like, we protect the small folk. We also partake of their harvests and their food. And it's like a fairly culturally accepted thing in Sarosa, where they are from. It's a hard thing to interact with without just like having people get mad. I don't want the interactions to be like people get angry. Maybe at some point he'll pull food from the wrong person and he'll be like, what? I know Minotaur. Maybe I'll run into a Minotaur here. Doesn't have to be a Minotaur. So he taxes food all the time. But he hasn't actually been in a place that he defended recently. Someone could call him on it? Some kind of proof of strength or honor could happen. But if I just get Turkan to reflect on taxation without I don't know a word for defend or defense or protection that rhymes with representation. We'll just throw protection. It's fine. I'm not actually going to read this out. It's just an in-joke for myself, so I guess I can have that joke be a little bit, you know, low par joke, if it's an inside joke with myself. So this is an option that I could throw in here somewhere. That could be fun. That's a fun thing we could highlight without too much trouble. That's like the one main thing he interacts with. He also interacts with fighting a lot. So there'll be an option for that at some point as well. Another option is just like, I gotta keep in mind a place for like a Why have you turned to a 1? Why have you turned to a 1? I said you were a 2. Don't auto format. Don't do that. I'm gonna get so mad. I'm gonna get so mad, Obsidian. You're usually so great. Why are you doing that? I guess these aren't indented appropriately under that. Yeah, that was the whole thing. That was the whole thing. Okay, great. So fight some kind of honorable legendary warrior or something. Could be a follower of Vezgal. So this is something I have maybe coming up, so we'll put that in there. Seen, we've had some... Had a lot of concert scenes recently. I don't... music is great. Oh, son of... Why now? Why are you doing this now? What is this shit? Why is it bumping these down? Okay, hold on. Just give another space here. All right. It's fine. It's fine. I like music without a concert. Nope. Let's see. I gotta ask Konnor something quick, actually. So there's he gave me some backstory stuff that he just recently kind of developed. So question, do you have any thoughts about other Evil Eyes, their lore and backstory, or is seen the only evil eye that Scene knows of? So, Scene of Akshay grew up in an orphanage, a very strange orphanage. Basically, I'm wondering how much freedom I have to work with other evil eyes. Because if, for instance, if I have the freedom to say that evil eyes are of the void, oops, perhaps they usually only hear the song of of the outer gods sealed behind black holes. That's the whole thing with black holes in this world, this universe, is just they're like gateways to like Cthulhu, etc. To the great old gods, the cosmic old gods. But Scene could instead hear the song of the world or of this world's old gods or whatever. So we could just highlight that a little bit. So there's that. 2. Flight of the regular folk, wherever we go. So he's been engaging with that a lot. Anytime I can just shoot that in, he's probably going to enjoy engaging with it a little bit. Hopefully I can add some more actionable things. A lot of the ones that we've run into, a lot of the situations that we've run into are ones where, like, you can't really interrupt army conscriptions too much. So yeah. So that is our little character review. Maybe we'll add to this next week. This is kind of supposed to be a thing that you do every time you run a session. So these will hopefully be a little bit dynamic. Hopefully they'll change week to week, but some of these can come and go. But, like, I do need, for instance, Turkon to engage with some other stuff, give me some other direction that he wants to go in before I can really add to this list too much. So that's a consideration, but analyzing it in context of what we're doing every week is probably a good idea. Should we do more Zelda lo-fi? They call it lo-fi and then they call it cyberpunk. Those don't feel like the same music to me. Yeah, this doesn't sound very lo-fi. It also sounds like the same music, so I don't think that this is made by this person. Okay. Let's go with Chrono Jazz. We'll switch it up entirely. Entirely different genre. Okay. Sick. So we got some stuff here for Turkon and Scene of Auction. I have some scene ideas for Steris. I have so many scene ideas for Steris, actually. So we'll start hitting some of those soon. I don't think I can do the one I want to do this week, but maybe before they head off to find this Arx Systinium. They're about to find a skyship. They're about to get to the JRPG part where they find a skyship. So, that'll be fun. What else do we got? So, there's some other things going. So this is our hot start. Steris, seeing that the huntsman, that Mr. Trabert, is getting her Trabert report and seeing that he is approaching. Some of the other steps I kind of like combine. The other steps of the Lazy Dungeon Master, there's like outline potential scenes. We are obviously doing that a little bit here. Probably with a little bit too many specifics. They're not even going to need most of this stuff because they're just going to gank Trabert and get his amulet. So they won't need to figure out what all the blessings are. They just won't need to solve this puzzle. Processing some things in my head. We'll probably still go through like the Eye of the Mountain. We figured out that they're just going to see a bunch of ghosts on their way through the mountain that will lead them to the correct location. The Eye of Eternity is still fucking me up. They're going to need that to reveal stuff closer to the Arx Systinium itself. And it could just be as simple as, like, the Eye of Eternity might just give them the ability to read Utopian, read their old language, or maybe read glyphs of the language from throughout time. Something like that. Something like that. It'll be something along those lines. I was thinking of some other ideas like, oh, you could see that there was once a bridge here, or that there is a bridge here, or that there's a way to extend a bridge here. And that just seems kind of fucking lame, so. So, maybe not. I like the idea of reading in multiple languages. I like that idea. So, secrets and clues. Let's do some of these, because we haven't filled these up. So we have the Leyline Nexus under Vasicia's charge is an old Landava. This is fucking very old. It's very old, but they still haven't, like, tamped it down exactly where. So, don't know what to do with that yet. I don't know if I should delete it. I don't know. Rudel has defenders from all 4 of the 4 in the area. I don't think I've covered that yet, but they might just stumble into this in a forced scene. So this one's questionable. The eyes on the Wolf family amulet are only really worshipped here in Rudel. That is fine. There are churches dedicated to the eyes in Rudel. That is fine. Rudelians have stories about music rousing the dead. That is totally fine. Kind of not really related to anything other than highlighting music elsewhere up above. That's fine. Many of the people created by the 4 actually existed before their arrival. That's fine. It's not a big deal. This is a place where they could definitely find that out relatively soon. So keep that on there. Boy, I did not write notes for the last session. Boy, I gotta fill some of those out. Okay. So we are missing a couple of secrets and clues. Let's just go ahead. I should actually, like, read over the review the characters section. Reviewing the characters, this is about reviewing the player characters, right? Let's see. Right, yes, it is. Goes into a lot of detail about, like, can you remember the characters' names? I can't even imagine a world where I can't remember my player characters' names. Hello, Kareen. How are you doing? Welcome in. I should probably go into strong start in more detail. But I am mostly interested in going over secrets and clues a little bit more deeply, because this is the part I struggle with very often, is coming up with new secrets and clues as we're going through and prepping things, which is like the biggest part of improvising, probably. Like, the biggest prep you can do to help you improvise is to come up with some secrets and stuff to dole out beforehand, so you're not coming up with it on the fly. It really gets your brain thinking in that kind of area, and sometimes it's very easy for me, sometimes it's very difficult. Like, I revealed some secrets in the last session that I hadn't written down. They were just, like, asking about very specific things, and I was able to conjure up that information pretty easily. But... Unrefined quests. Secrets and clues are often the ethereal goo that solidifies into quests. Okay. Hobgoblins are building a terrible city-destroying war machine is a secret, and when the characters discover it and the players discuss it, that secret almost automatically becomes a quest to destroy the Hobgoblins' terrible city-destroying war machine. You don't have to think of secrets and clues as quests or story hooks, but they'll often transform into those hooks if they catch the interest of the players. That makes sense. Yeah, so their examples are, they have like a lot of examples kind of around the same thing, of like the Hobgoblins are building a terrible city destroying war machine, It was forged in the fires of the Nine Hells as a second secret centuries ago and was lost in great battle. Hobgoblins have gnome tinkerers and alchemists working on the war machine. So that's like 3 secrets and clues related directly to the machine, and a bunch related to the hobgoblins. So I'm often like, my secrets and clues are not different enough. But it makes sense that I have a bunch of secrets and clues about Rudel specifically. Just because that's what we're dealing with. So I should not be so hard on myself about that. I should not expect to have like 10 totally unrelated secrets, according to this example. Yeah, monsters, NPCs, and locations. Okay. And so... Okay, it's fine. You're definitely not supposed to set these secrets into a certain place or learned in a certain way. That I already know. They're just kind of supposed to be things that when your players are investigating things, they can come across, maybe not any of these, but several of these. Like these can... they might be able to find this information from multiple sources. So like, the Rudelians have a story about music rousing the dead. They could hear that from a rumor. They could hear that from like reading up in it in a book. They could find it in like a statue underground. That kind of thing. And this could have been a second way that they get the similar blessing to the eyes of the mountain. If they like get the attention of the dead through some kind of musical means, then they could be guided to the correct location without the eye of the mountain. I do just straight up ignore it. There's a step here that's like throw away secrets that aren't revealed during a session, write a fresh list each time. I just ignore that. They've been in Rudel for a few sessions. They've found nearly none of these secrets. It is certainly important to revise them. I don't think you need to throw away the entire list each time. Doing what I do and just wholesale copying the previous list is probably a bad creative, like, method. Like, you probably should kind of throw it out and then rewrite them in new, more updated language and not just copy and paste them over. But okay. Secret or clue is a single sentence that encapsulates a piece of your game world, its history, or the current story. It's a piece of information that the characters can discover as they explore the world and interact with its inhabitants. Its secrets and clues are never trivial. They contain information that matters to the characters. They might be pieces of history that give the characters and the players a better view of why things are happening. They might be leads and hints that allow the characters to discover special locations or powerful items. They might be information about NPCs that the characters didn't already know. Okay. That all makes sense. It does not make it easier to come up with the last 4 secrets and clues. As one might expect. They're so, like, context-specific to the campaign that there's not a lot of advice about how to come up with them. I mean, there's a lot of advice about what they should be and the purpose they should serve, but not a lot about what they should be, you know? So, let's see. A lot of secrets about Rudel. We don't have a lot of secrets about the Huntsman. So I guess I should just have, like, Rudel's neighbors. Like to say that the kingdom is infested by werewolves. We're actually going to move this down. Rudelians themselves have stories about werewolves in the mountains. As a story to, you know, serves double duty as a story to, like, keep children from wandering too far, but also to unnerve invaders. And the other secret tells you that it's kind of working. If Rudel's neighbors like to say that the kingdom is infested by werewolves, then clearly the rumor that they themselves, this story is effective. So there's that. That relates to it's probably a thing here where, like, where, like, the people know that it comes from their leaders having the last name Wolf. So something, it's just a silly rumor based on the royal, or, yeah, on the royal family's last name. Called the Wolves. The Werewolf Royals, etc. I should have thrown that out, as in given that to the players. I should have given them that before they came to the kingdom. I should have been foreshadowing this a little bit, but since Mr. Trebert is now a werewolf, I almost don't want to put too much attention on it, you know what I mean? So, even though Moto was already like, I mean, his name is Wolf, he's got to be a ranger, right? And they probably are a family that leans ranger rather than fighter, to be entirely honest. Oh no, Lady Midnight, I'm sorry that we're... I switched over to jazz from, like, synthwave stuff earlier. So I apologize for that switch. Okay, we got 2 more secrets and clues. We've already given the players quite a lot of, like, secret information about, like, the wolves are blessed by Scala. They are of Scala's blood, in fact. Part of Scala's bloodline. There's the goddess of time, by the way. So they already have a lot of information about that. We don't really need more secrets and clues around that, probably. Although they think... Moto talked about how much it, like, humanized Scala, that she, like, got with mortals and, like, had a family with mortals. But that's not really how it is. It's like a contingency plan. Like, this royal family is blessed with her blood so that she can, like, if she somehow dies and, like, loses her body, she can take one of these mortals over as, like, a new body. That is kind of the point of the family. So it's less about, like, oh, I have started this bloodline. I've started this family, this very humanizing thing. It's, like, less about that, and it's actually a little bit grim. It's very much in their character already that they would have this, like, contingency plan backup thing. But they'll find out about that later. Mafia of the family, right. Yeah, it's a little less of a bright and lighthearted, happy thing. Can't too much. Yeah, can't type too much. Totally understand. Totally understand. So I probably don't need to throw out more secrets about that. They have to dig into some very specific stuff to... Like, there's no one around to give them the truth that, like, the royal family is here as a contingency plan. There's no... I can make up things that hint toward that, but it doesn't really serve much of a purpose, and kind of ruins a different surprise later. So maybe we'll avoid that. Oh. Go ahead and switch this. Some of the people created by the Four actually existed before their arrival. Created by quotation marks. We'll move that here. We'll just slap down. The moon is corrupted. They kind of already know that the moon is like throwing moonflowers at the planet. But yeah, the moon is corrupted somehow. I don't totally know the details. But the moon is corrupted somehow, which is how... it is tossing moonflowers at the world. As a similar thing to that... Oops. Moon worshippers. Hello, Nerdy Sakura. Welcome in. Moon worshippers have been causing a fuss. I don't want to put too much detail or emphasis on that. I should have shown that when they were in the village earlier, a couple of sessions ago. Moon worshippers have been causing a fuss. Raiding villages, babbling nonsense, etc., etc. This is all to hint backwards towards number 7, that the moon is corrupted somehow. This is also to hint towards why Trebert, why the huntsman kind of started causing trouble and then ran away. Which will then explain why he is so tightly aligned with Mr. Augustine, the person who's manipulating the huntsman. Why he's so tightly aligned with him, because Augustine has rewired the huntsman's brain using space aliens, effectively. So that's what all that moon stuff is related to. So more violent, unreasonable. maybe it's not even like a fringe group. Maybe there's like a temple. Maybe there's a temple on the mountain where they're gonna find the Arx Sistinium. We're like kind of piling multiple secrets together, but I'm gonna delete the Leyline Nexus one. We're just gonna delete the Leyline Nexus one. If I delete this, does this? It does fix the list. Okay. Here's number 10. Temple worshipping. Worshipping the moon was constructed on Mount whatever. I don't know the name of the moon where the Arx is at the moment, or the name of the mountain where the Arx is. But on that mountain, there is now a temple worshipping the moon that was constructed there after the four were sealed away. So, that temple was put up. Those are some of the moon worshippers that have been causing a fuss. Which all leads back to the moon being corrupted. Okay, so those are all the three related things to the moon. So that, we can start throwing those out if the players investigate certain things. Give them a little bit of some advanced hints. On why, sorry, punched the microphone, punched it pretty hard. On what's going on with Mr. Trebert Wolf the Huntsman. I have 2 days left to make a character, and I got nothing besides the dice I rolled for stats. I was told like 3 to 4 days ago. It's pretty quick. I would just start listening to some music. Like, I would start making a playlist. This is how I make characters and how I get super attached to my characters. I just start like making a playlist and then build the character around that playlist, start like dreaming up scenes in my head about those characters. So that's what I would do. Nothing related to mechanics or anything like that. I would start like thinking up the idea around this character, and then I would just build them in whatever system. I would just build whatever is closest to that character. Or, you know, like class almost doesn't matter too much. A lot of my characters could be any class. I had a big, tough man sailor orc that was shy. And that might lead you to think that he was some kind of fighter or swashbuckler or, I don't know, you know, rogue maybe, something like that. He was a druid. Biggest issue is the timelines. It takes place around 2012 to 2013. I see. Interesting. Curious. That's harder for me to make a character for, I suppose, but I would just default to, like, frankly, this is not going to be a surprise for most people. I would default to like a punk girl. That is my default modern character, and I have trouble escaping that. Although I guess, I don't know, I've played some like 90s characters from playing a bunch of Zomboid RP, and I guess I run the gamut between like, I have 2 punk girls, and then I have just like a jock with anxiety. I have an old man mayor who's like very nervous and very earnest, and I don't know, a guy who's like an anti-capitalist woodsman. Actually, he was very pro-capitalism. He was pro-trade. He wasn't pro-money. He was pro-trade and pro-tear down all of society. The zombies came from society. Society made the zombies. We need to leave society dead. Stop trying to remake your dumb cities. If you just go make tree houses and you live in the woods, they're not gonna get you. You know? Tie up some can ropes and they're not gonna sneak up on you. You're gonna be fine. Just live in the woods. Anyway. That's probably not very helpful. But stats I rolled were an 11, a 14, a 12, a 14, a 7, and a 16. Jesus. That's pretty high, actually. 16 for charisma, regardless of class. Is this D&D? Is this a D&D campaign that takes place in 2012? An interesting premise. Do I have any other early scenes for In the City? Takes place in 5e D&D. All right. All right. Very interesting. In the modern world, there's no, like, twist on it or anything? Is this, like... I think we talked a little bit before about what it was. I'm sorry I'm forgetting a little bit. Is it, like... Oh, no, because you were... Never mind. Someone else that I know was getting into, like, a modern fantasy, like a Midnight City kind of thing. So is it something a little bit like that, where it's, like, modern fantasy? Or is it just, like, very strictly, like, the modern world? I'm so curious. Or is it like a post-apocalypse? Like the the doomsday theorists were actually right? I should probably prepare the fight against Tribert a little bit. Grab a map for it, at the very least. Throw him on it. He's gonna have some allies. He is going to be a level 10 creature. He's gonna be 2 level 10 creatures, actually. He's going to be the Ranger and the Werewolf. So he's 2 level 10 creatures, but they're not fighting at the same time, so that doesn't really fit into the XP budget in a way that you'd expect. We'll probably try to make it a... We'll probably try to make it a +3 encounter with everything bundled up. Like, I'll give it a 160 XP budget in total. Oopsies. Oh, okay. With homebrew races, either a demon, Akuma, human, or vampire. Apparently demons get a +5 to AC? What? Akumas get a +6 to AC and +5 to strength at the cost of losing their memories? It's a very strange homebrew races. These are very odd. I have to assume that these folks who get +5, +6 AC, I assume they just can't wear armor. Like, I assume that's, like, natural hide or something. Natural armor plates, and it doesn't stack with, like, if they put plate mail on top of it. I have to assume that's how that works. Because, like, +6 AC is what a lot of people can only ever hope to get. So I have to assume it doesn't stack. And 500 HP is double damage from the flanks does not make up for having 100, not 100, but like 20x. How does 5e work? I forget how level 1 5e HP works. I have so many HP systems swirling in my brain. Let's say, I don't think you can get 20 HP as a level 1 D&D character, but if you can get 20 HP as a level 1 D&D character, that is 10, 20 times the amount of HP? More than 20 times the amount of HP that most player characters can hope to start with. So taking 2x the damage does not make up for having 20x the health. You know what I mean? So that's a weird one. I'm a little confused there. Sounds like an interesting campaign, though. Sounds like it'll be a whole thing, and probably a blast. 12 plus 5 is the highest. Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty complicated. That's a lot of HP. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna have the 2 versions of the Huntsman. It'll be a phased fight. He will have some minions with him, though not perhaps to his preference. He's gonna have some Rudel-y around, which should just be in the Seraph folder by now. I don't know where they are. Where do I keep my Rudel-y? Not in the tourist dungeon. I guess I keep them in the Angel Evils set. So, yeah, he's going to be with Rudel-y who are scouting around for the player characters, as well to help the Huntsman find the player characters. That is their role. And there's actually going to be like a swarm of them. They might run into some Rudel-y like before they run into the Huntsman. One of the scenes that I've outlined is them running into Dryad-like archers fighting Rudel-y. So they'll probably see some of these around the same, you know, at that time. I'm in the journals. I don't mean to be in the journals. I want to be in the scenes. Do I have any... I need some forest mountain imports. I have so many of those. I run out of forest mountains so fast. Apparently half-breeds don't get the full benefits, as I know my party has a half anglerfish demon vampire. I see. This could be the map. Have we fought anything on this map? Highland Pass. Have we fought anything on this map? I don't see any evidence of it. I usually just delete maps, and I usually keep player characters on the maps if I don't delete them, so I don't think that we've used this map. So maybe we'll use this. I need a second map because the Huntsman at a certain point will try to run away, not knowing that the player characters can see him. So maybe if we haven't used this rope bridge map, maybe this will be the one. Oh, right. So yeah, maybe this will be the secondary map. So we'll go ahead and mark these two as... We'll toggle these on the navigation. I should move them to a different folder. Call it submaps, I guess. I don't want to give things away by the name of it, so we'll call it submaps. And we'll move these. Is there like a move option? No, I just gotta drag it. It's a little bit annoying, but... The other one was Jungle Rope Bridge. Okay. Hello? 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 It won't move. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now they'll be in submaps. Nice and easy to click between them. Where'd it go? Oh, I haven't toggled navigation for this one. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We even already have Rudel-y here. Weak ones. Take the week off. The week tag, not the week of time. Anyway, they're not even gonna be on this map. They need to be on the Highland Pass map. So we'll move them over here. Move them somewhere I can see them. Put the hunter on here. The huntsman. That was in here, right? Right, okay. Oh, it did drag it out. Okay, sick. What does this fight look like? Extreme, 176. Oh, God. Maybe we will make these weak Rudel-y. Get this to recalculate. Yeah, that looks like the best move here. $164, that's very reasonable. Because like I said, they will only be fighting the huntsman, one version of the huntsman at a time, so. 209 health, god dang. Oh, cool. As a man who hunts, he has 210 health. As a werewolf, he has 209 health. Just happy that I had a break from thinking yesterday, even if it was because I had to play my pacifist bard. Yeah, that nice break from thinking about things can be very, very nice to unclog the brain a little bit. Sometimes you gotta sleep on things, you know? Especially creative things. Like sometimes I get super stuck on a song, and I just set it down for the night, come back the next day, and I make a ton of very fast progress. I fully expect that to happen with kind of the next commission piece that I'm working on. Which I was gonna do tomorrow, but I'm just setting tomorrow aside to just play Borderlands 4. I just won a chill day. I've had like 3 days in a row of pretty busy, and today I've got D&D and stuff, so tomorrow I'm just playing Borderlands 4. I'm just hanging out by myself, getting some comfort food, recharging a little bit. Been waiting for that to happen for 3 days. Well, there's also that. There's also, sometimes you do have to plug in and get a little bit of work done so that you have something to revise. Just getting something on the paper and then workshopping it is the best. Really the best way to advance most things, except maybe code. You know, maybe not building a house, maybe not like literal construction projects, but creative projects. Often getting something rough on the page is the best way to carve something out and find something great. It's like advice you'll hear over and over for creatives. Like from songs to writing. A little tougher with painting again, but you know. Even sculptors is like the famous idea of like finding the statue in the block of whatever. The block of granite. So yeah, getting something like something a little trite down on the page will help you come up with something that you can polish and shine a little bit easier. I thought I'm kind of wrapped up with what I wanted to get done like half an hour early. We got all the secrets and clues. The moon inspiration kind of came out of nowhere, so that was cool. Good to have some werewolf rumors. Unless they start asking about that specifically, I'll probably lean towards giving them the moon information wherever possible. I should probably come up with some more scenes. I want them to get moving. So I don't want to have any scenes in the city to, like, stop that. So yeah, I don't want to outline more scenes in the city. I maybe should look for a more fantastical location that they could end up visiting here. I don't know where exactly, because I do kind of want them to just find Tribert in the woods. I kind of want it to be a very mundane location, all things considered. So I don't know. I'll think on that a little bit. I do think we're just gonna wrap it up. I think we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna go get some snacks before D&D. Pick up some dinner for later. Pick up some decaf coffee from the grocery store. For those who missed the discussion earlier, I was lamenting that I got up so early today that I can't make coffee before Pathfinder. Can't, you know, if I'm getting up at 9 o'clock, I can't make coffee at like 3 p.m., right? Not really. So, I'm gonna make some decaf coffee, so I have that little ritual still of listen to my character playlist to make some coffee just before playing D&D. So yeah, I'm gonna go buy some decaf coffee. Thank you guys for hanging out for some GM prep. It was a lot of fun. Normally on Tuesdays we are doing a Star Wars campaign, but the DM wants a break due to burnout. That's fair. That happens sometimes. I just wish I had a wee little more time to work on things. Yeah. I hope you have a fun session. Thanks for the chat. It helps a bit chatting about that. Yeah, for sure. Same with the prep. Just talking this stuff over. Like I said, just like babbling to the camera. Even when I don't have people hanging out to like bounce things off of, I'm still bouncing things off the lens and coming up with stuff like the moon. Like these secrets about the moon being corrupted, the moon worshippers and their stuff, and the Temple of the Moon worship and all that stuff. Shit. Deleted half my secrets and clues there for a second. I've been using computers for years and years, but I still have that panic when something gets deleted of just like, like I just set my essay on fire permanently. But no, you just hit Control-Z. Had computers all my life, and I still freak out. All right. Like I said, thank you guys for hanging out for GM Prep. It was a lot of fun. It was intended to be a little bit longer, but we'll see. I'm gonna keep trying to do these streams a little bit earlier, but it's a little bit in conflict with my campaign on Wednesdays being at 5 o'clock. I want to like burn myself out doing a whole stream before that, so I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I don't really know what I'm gonna do on. I don't know. I could just do a couple hours of game on Wednesday, a couple hours of music in the morning. Head off, take a break, get some decaf coffee, and just have a nice like 3-hour break between whatever morning stream I do and the session, maybe? I don't know. Still working it out. All I know is I want my evenings free to like hang out with friends instead of being like, no, I'm streaming on my days off. So we'll see how things go. Still working on the schedule. We are going to be playing Silksong very soon. I'm going to try to find some room to finish up some Hollow Knight 1 stuff. Harvest a bunch of dream essence from the bugs and fight off some of those dream bosses. And then we're going to try to get to Godhome. I got a little bit addicted to the hard boss, the Nightmare King guy. I'm not going to spoil it more than that. That was a lot of fun. So, and like getting that pattern down was a lot of fun. So I'm down to fight some more hard bosses before we move on to Silksong if I can. So in the next week or so, we're going to try to do that. And then maybe next Friday morning, we'll start Silksong. I think that might be what we'll do. I think we'll try to get up, stream some Silksong from like 10 a.m. to like 4 p.m. And then I'll hop off and hang out in my usual co-working session Friday evening. So maybe that's what we'll do. I'll try to put some schedules out as I figure this stuff out. We will be back on Wednesday for maybe music and definitely Pathfinder. So see you guys then. That's the only thing I have planned in stone. So that's all you get for now. Keep the eye on the Discord for a schedule update. And I'll see you all again real soon. Goodbye.